Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Sarita and Meredith again. We're chatting again. Yay.
Yay.
And this is Yoga Unplugged, which is an opportunity for us to talk about some of the questions we get about the yoga we teach called Svaroopa Yoga and whatever else is on our mind, that particularly our own experience of Svaroopa Yoga and the what we study in the way of those philosophies. I love bringing a voice to that. So that's the purpose of this. And Meredith is a dear friend and colleague and Ayurveda practitioner and Ayurveda teacher. Is that correct in saying it that way, Meredith?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay.
teach practitioners.
She teaches practitioners for the Maharishi School of Ayurveda
hmm
and has her own business, which people can find you. What's your website, Meredith?
MeredithAnnHart.com. And that's Ann without an E.
Okay, I'll put it in the comments below
Yeah.
when I put out the YouTube video. So anyway, because I know we're going to talk a lot, so people might want to go to your website and
Thank you.
also yes, Meredith is. I haven't even told you this
Hmm.
actually, so I'm going to tell you now that sometimes before class starts, when I'm just setting the tone and everybody's just kind of getting ready for class before I'm even recording or anything, I'll use your spine mantra to just relax. And everybody just loves your spine mantra. So
Really?
yeah, so I love that. I love using that mantra, but I don't record with the mantra behind because it's not my, I haven't asked your permission to do that, but I will use that. So if you go to Meredith's website, you can download
Yeah,
this
you can get it.
beautiful mantra. That's a
Hmm.
spine healing mantra, and then get information and so on. So
Thank
anyway,
you.
yeah,
That's so great.
I know. I love it. I forgot to mention that too. So today we're talking about Tantra because I've had a question come to me that asking, is Svaroopa Yoga a Tantric yoga? And I haven't actually answered that person yet because I was like, oh, how am I going to answer this question succinctly? Um, I mean, succinctly, the answer would be yes. But I wanted to be able to talk about it a little bit more and send this link and put this out for other people that may have that question. So would that be your answer too, Meredith? Would you answer
Yeah.
yes to that question, right? Yeah. So we're just going to chat about that. And I wanted to start by just reading from one of the articles that the originator of Svaroopa Yoga, Swami Nirmalananda, wrote in 2003. Before she was Swami Nirmalananda, she was still Rama. This article is called Svaroopa Yoga, The Process and Purpose.
Hmm.
So I can also put a link to this article in this talk too, so you can look at it if you'd like. But I'll read this quote from it. Probably without realizing it, you spend a lot of time out of your body. You live in the future or in the past. And even worse, you spend much of your time in constant frustration because you're always comparing things with your idea about the way they should be. The purpose of Svaroopa Yoga is to make you actually arrive in your life and in your body, which is the interweaving. In Sanskrit, the word for interweaving is Tantra. Svaroopa Yoga is Tantra. Badly misrepresented in the United States, Tantra actually means loom, the vertical and horizontal threads weaving together to make a whole piece of cloth. It refers to the physical and spiritual dimensions of your own being, weaving together to make your life whole. As a Tantra, Svaroopa Yoga shows you how to live your whole life as yoga, how to embrace your life more fully, wholly, and completely. We begin by bringing you into your body. It's so easy to open up the tensions in your body. In a few minutes, you genuinely feel more alive. You look and feel younger, healthier, and have more strength and stamina, even though you didn't exercise. When you release the tension in your body, you calm your mind, and you're less stressed, more joyful, kinder, more loving, and more understanding. And most importantly, this opens up inner experiences beyond your mind. When you land fully in your own body, the energy of the universe will boomerang from that point, from the tip of your tailbone, and go back up your spine from contraction to expansion. And as your practice develops, you'll have more and more experiences of the vast reality inside until you realize you are embodied consciousness.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and when she says badly misrepresented in the US,
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a piece that I read somewhere else where she elaborated and said a lot of people feel like think Tantra means some kind of really like crazy sexual
Yeah.
experiences. And she goes on to explain it in a different way, that it
Mm-hmm.
actually means loom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So what do you think of that quote? What comes up for
Yeah.
you?
For me, it really resonates because when I think about what Tantra is that it's really the practice or the practices that bring me into my fullest, most embodied and enlivened self. So it's it's beyond the duality of like mind versus body, or like my small self and the my soul or my higher
Mhm.
self. There's no duality there, and I feel like that for me is what Tantra is really about. And that's why Svaroopa Yoga is a tantric style of yoga, because there is this uh I was going to say like marriage or like weaving of these two parts, but really what happens is that for me, as I dive more deeply into these practices over time, is that it's not even a marriage anymore. It's like a unification where there is no two separate
Yeah.
things. It's
Or
like,
it's a realization. It's an
yeah,
experience that
yeah,
you're like, oh my God, it's never been separate.
right.
That was an illusion.
Yeah,
It's never been separate. Yeah.
yeah. And the body is a big part of it. And I think that that's why I really love this practice, is because it um it really shines light on the importance of our physicality, which is such a huge human element of being alive, you know, being in the body.
Being in the body, because we're designed to feel that the awe of there is no separation. We are
Right.
one. We're like designed to feel that.
Yeah.
And we get to feel that through the body. But you know, what is that? What do you feel like that looks like in life? Like, how does that show up? Okay, so I go to Svaroopa Yoga and I get really plugged in and I really feel my body. And I have this deep experience in Shavasana. Like, I feel, whoa, I'm just so expanded and I feel like I'm one with everything, you know. Then you get up and you go home. How does that show up from your perspective? What do you think that means in your life?
Well, I think that after repeated kind of dipping in of these experiences, then the integration is really what comes up to the forefront. And to me, that's also the weaving or the sewing of the threads of the cloth, is this like integrating into, okay, how am I going to be in my life and my relationships, and still kind of in a way hang on to that tether of that expanded experience. And so that's a weaving as well.
Hmm. Yeah, and like being for me, it shows up the way I feel it is being in my body. I can actually be so much more present to whatever is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm in less of a place of blaming somebody else and
Mm-hmm.
more in a place of embracing the experience I'm having of
Yeah.
whatever's going on. I guess I sometimes think of when things are not good, you know, how am I? I think that's more important than when things are actually
Yeah.
going great. Like
Right.
how am I?
Well, that's really what we're all concerned with anyway, is
I know it's
getting out
kind
of
of
pain.
easy. It's kind of easy to be present when everything, is going
Right.
great. But
Yeah.
when everything is horrible, like
Yeah.
what do you like? How can you be? And for me, that the tantric practice of Svaroopa Yoga, weaving my awareness always into my body, feeling my body. When things go awry, I can be more present in myself and
Mm,
handle the rockiness of whatever's going on
right.
without externalizing all that. Where I
Mm,
can be like, I feel frustrated, I feel uncomfortable, I'm able to like tap in
mhm.
and still ride a form of bliss of being present to myself, even though I'm feeling a certain way. My feelings
Yeah.
don't override something deeper that's happening, the experience itself of
Right.
just being a human, you know?
Right. It's almost
And
like it expands on your capacity to witness yourself
yeah,
as
that's
you're
it.
feeling and sensing whatever is happening. So you can do both. You can be in it, and you can also, you have the capacity to be aware of it as it's happening.
I can be in it. That's a great way to say it, the witness aspect. I can be in it without being gobbled up by it, without it
Yes.
feeling like it's the only thing there is.
Right. Without identifying with it and
Yeah, without
having it
getting
consume
desperate.
you. Yeah.
Sometimes I can do that, not all the time.
Oh, me
Which
too.
is why it's a practice, which is
Right.
why I have to keep doing the yoga. But because it's never finished. Because
Right.
kind of like always human and always
Yeah.
needing the the reminders, I guess, or the experience. The experience is better than the reminder. The reminders is like if I just read about it, and the
Right.
experience is if I actually lay down and practice being
Right.
aware, you
Right.
know. And
Yeah, well, it's easier to work with the body because it's tangible and it gives us direct feedback, and the mind is very subtle and has ways of kind of manipulating and creating illusion. The body doesn't ever lie. It's like,
yeah.
so when you go back to your body again and again and again, it enhances that capacity to be
Mm,
be more and more aware through
yeah,
opening the body.
so powerful.
Mhm.
Um, so there's another reading that I want to do and that we could chat about for a minute, which is a reading from this book, Tantra Illuminated, that I really like. And the author is Christopher Wallace. And he says, um, Tantra spreads Tan, Tan, wisdom that saves Tra, Tra. Here, the second verbal root has a double meaning, for it alludes to the fact that tantric practices give us a means of strengthening and protecting ourselves from worldly harm,
Hmm.
as well as bestowing the ultimate spiritual liberation. We could equally well say that a tantra is a device, a tra, for expanding tan, as a mantra is a device for working with the mind, and a yantra is a device for controlling yan, or for controlling yan. Modern teachers like to mention that the verbal root tan means stretch and expand, saying that tantra is so called because it stretches our awareness and expands our capacity for joy. I
Yeah,
love that.
I
I
love
really
that
love
too. And that's kind of what we were just talking about.
Yes. And
Uh-huh.
that's so simple to think of it that way,
Yeah.
that it's a tantra, it's stretching our awareness and expanding our capacity for joy. We're
Mm,
actually expanding our awareness and capacity for joy. This is a good example of a modern interpretive etymology, and though it is not found in the original source, it's very much in the spirit of the
mm,
source. So
mm.
he's a scholar, he's a Sanskrit scholar, and he's talking about throughout this book, he really picks apart the Sanskrit and really
Mhm.
goes deep into it. But I like picking that out just because I feel such a simple way to think about it,
Mhm.
expanding the joy. There's so much that comes with that,
Yeah.
expanding the joy. Like the deeper you go, the more at least for me, the deeper I go, the more curious I become of my origin,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the more I
Yeah.
want to know about how am I put together? What am I made of? Like, how
Mm.
did I come into form?
Right.
Like what's up with all that? And then that leads down this path of tantric study and leads down the path of Ayurveda for me as well.
Mhm.
Does it
Mhm.
for you in that way? Do you
Yeah, for
feel that?
sure. Yeah, I really feel and know from my experience with my practices that it is this expanding of the container or the capacity inside myself to be even more and more present. And when I'm there, there is more joy, even if there's suffering.
Yes.
When I'm practicing regularly, that capacity is, there's like space in my physicality for
Yeah.
awareness to flow, and so that increases my ability to be more present, you
Yeah.
know.
And that was very profound what you just said, even like the more I'm present, no matter what's going on, there's joy.
Yeah.
Like there's joy. Joy is really the essence and it's what we're tapping into. And
Right.
even when things aren't good, there's still an aspect of joy. There's an
Right.
aspect of knowing we're not separate. It's when you begin to, I guess, experience, or when you can experience on an ongoing basis, there's no separation.
Mm. Yeah, such good
That's
stuff.
a biggie. So that's a biggie, Meredith. So um, it stretches our awareness and expands our capacity for joy. And Svaroopa Yoga does that by helping us all be more embodied, be more
Mm-hmm.
present in the body through the physical practice and the
Mm-hmm.
way we do the physical practice to encourage awareness as we go along.
Right.
And then the shavasanas, well, let's not even, I mean,
That's like a whole other
that's
15-minute chat that we
it's a
should
whole
do.
other, we're going to do a shavasana chat because I'll leave everybody with this, that it's actually the shavasanas that's the tantra icing,
Yeah.
you know, that you open and then luxuriate,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
right?
marinate in it.
You marinate and luxuriate
Mhm.
and and feel it, experience it. And
Yeah.
that's why we do shavasana twice.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about that another time.
Yay. I can't wait.
Okay, thanks.
See ya.
Bye.